One of the things that I struggle with now that I'm at this weight is knowing when to eat and what to eat. So we've talked a little bit about what to eat. My biggest downfall is that I'll kind of forget to eat all day. And so then I'll eat a bunch right before we go to bed, which I know is not ideal. Is there a structure that we should follow when it comes to when to eat?
I'm a big fan of what I call proactive eating. So it's a little bit different than what the majority of people are doing. What we do is what you kind of described as reactive eating. So I forgot to eat all day because I was busy, distracted, whether that was intentional or unintentional. It's easy to do, especially if you have a job during the daytime hours. It's easy to forget to eat because you're so caught up in what you're doing. Or for some of us, I know what I ate last night, so I need to be good today, and I'll put good in air quotes. And so I'll just restrict my intake all day long so that I don't overeat calories. But then the problem is our hunger finally catches up with us and we end up eating everything from like 3 o'clock on until we go to bed. That's not usually the time where we're our most active. So when I talk about proactive eating, it's eating for your anticipated activity. The majority of us are the most active during the daytime hours. Even if you're not physically moving around, mentally, how much energy are you requiring to do your job and to do it well? For some of us, we have really intense, stressful positions, and it requires a lot of focus. That burns calories. And so when you are the most active, whether it's physically or mentally active or a combination of the two, that's when we need to eat. A lot of us, we try to not eat all day when we're the most active. And then when we're sedentary, then we dump all the food in our system. So it's like driving a car. Like if you want to drive across the country, you fill up your car with gas and then drive. You don't drive across the country and then once you've parked your car, then fill it up with gas so it can sit in the garage all night. But that's exactly what we do. And our bodies are not really designed to digest and absorb nutrients at the end of the day. Like our bodies have already moved on to second shift. Like we need to go into cellular repair, getting ready for the next day. Our bodies aren't really looking to do overtime and extra work in digestion, especially if we're not going to be active because there's no reason for all those calories. But the number one reason why people overeat at night is mostly because they're undereating during the day. In their head, they're thinking, oh, well, I just won't eat at night. That's my problem. So now you're not eating all day and you're not eating at night. How long do you think that's going to last? Can you see yourself doing that 5 years from now?
And it's funny because as soon as I said I keep forgetting to eat, like old me would have slapped myself right now. It's like, who forgets to eat? But I have done the whole restrictive, like I'm not going to eat because once I start eating, I won't be able to stop. So I'm just going to wait and not eat until I absolutely have to. So it's good to know that I'm not alone in that plight.
No. A lot of people do it. It can either be intentional or unintentional. I know what I ate last night, so I got to be better today. And so I'll just be super restrictive, but then you're starving. And then you eat everything and then you get frustrated with yourself. Why can't I be more disciplined? It's not a discipline issue, it's a blood sugar issue. If you're not eating anything and you're active, you're going to be hungry. It's just how it works. So a lot of times people will tell me too, well, I'm not hungry in the morning. Well, sometimes that reason is because they overate at night. And because their body didn't move and didn't have any need to burn those calories, it just kind of sat there. And so then you wake up and you still feel like, ugh, right? We have that kind of not a hungover feeling, but it's just that blah, like, oh, I still feel great. Of course you don't want to eat, right? But then you start the whole cycle all over again of not eating during the day, eating all your calories at night. And then we wonder why the scale continues to creep up and why we don't feel good and why we're not focused for our day. So if we want to feel good for our day, we got to eat.
Yeah, that's totally me. I do that so much. For those of us who are stuck in that cycle, is there anything other than, just do it to help us kind of break the cycle?
I would just say instead of your first meal being around lunchtime, maybe just back it up a few hours and try to eat something small at 10 o'clock. For me personally, I like to eat about every 3 to 4 hours. That just feels good to me. I like to eat about 4 times a day. So I do like a breakfast, a lunch, a snack, and dinner. For my body, that's what feels good to me. That may feel good to you, or it may not. You may like to eat 3 times. You may like to eat 6 times. Again, no right or wrong way. It's what works for you. I would just say start to back up your meals a little bit if you tend to wait to eat. just see how you feel if you have something small at 10, and then maybe you have something around 1 or 2, and if you have dinner around 6 or 7, and then drink some water at night, and then see if you notice that you're hungrier at the beginning of the day. If you are, that's great. And then you start to move that window. Instead of having all your calories between noon and 11 p.m., you slowly start to shift that time frame to maybe you're eating more like 7 to 8. Like, I don't like to make hard rules about intermittent fasting because there's always going to be an opportunity for why you can't follow the rule. So I don't like to make rules that
Right.
I know I'm going to break. For me, sometimes I work till 8 o'clock at night. So to tell myself I can't eat anything after 7 doesn't even make sense, because sometimes that's my first opportunity to eat a meal. So if I tell myself I can't, now I'm just hungry and I'm angry. And that doesn't ever work good. That doesn't work out for me. So I don't make any
Yeah.
hard rules that I have to follow because I know that I'm going to need flexibility.
I love that. And I think that's a great way to approach nutrition, because I think a lot of us, when we are looking for the answers of how do I do this, we want to gravitate to those hard and fast rules, because it's like, okay, I can't mess this up because I have a rule. And if I follow this rule, it'll be okay. Except for that's not always possible, like you said.